Hi friends, I welcome you all to today's discussion pertaining to finance related current affairs for upcoming RBI Grade B 2019 and SEBI Grade A 2019 examination. The topic which we are going to decode today in the form of MCQs is Financial Benchmark Administrators Reserve Bank Directions, which have been very recently issued by RBI. So basically we are going to learn about the concept of financial benchmark. We are going to learn about the administration of financial benchmark and the directions which have been recently issued by RBI in this regard in the form of MCQs. Now, if you are a paid subscriber of our courses, you can easily get access to the detailed discussion on these directions in the course itself along with these MCQs. So you need not watch this particular video again. Now, before proceeding forward, let me quickly tell you about the excellent results that we have achieved over the past few years. Now, in 2017, in RBI Grade B, we had 27 final selections from our students, and in NABARD Grade A, we had 11 final selections from our students. And in 2018, we repeated the same success story. And in RBI Grade B, we had 70 plus final selections, and in NABARD Grade A, we had 26 final selections. Also, in 2018 SEBI Grade A examination, out of the total 84 selections, 41 of our students they made it to the final list, and in the IBPS AFO examination, our students have got 100 plus interview calls. Now, if I talk about the different individual courses that we are providing, then they include RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A, NABARD Grade A, RBI Assistant, and IBPS AFO examinations. Now, apart from running the separate courses for all those individual examinations, we are also having some combo courses which you can avail. So we have a combo for RBI Grade B, NABARD Grade A, and SEBI Grade A. We are also having a combo for RBI Grade B, NABARD Grade A, SEBI Grade A, RBI Grade B, and NABARD Grade A and SEBI Grade A. So we have all the requisite combos that you can choose from, and you can choose the appropriate course as per your requirements. Let me also tell you about our new course, which is very important for all the banking exams. This is the QRE course. QRE, that is quantitative aptitude, reasoning ability, and English. So all these aspects which are very important for all the banking exams, they are going to be covered in this particular course. So now let's take a look at some of the very important MCQs which can be asked out of these directions. First question. Reserve Bank of India recently issued guidelines for setting up of benchmark administrator for administering dash in the market for financial instruments. Options are significant benchmarks, non-significant benchmarks, recognized benchmarks, or none is correct. So, friends, in this case, we are being asked about what are the benchmarks for which this agency is going to be set up. So friends, if we talk about these particular guidelines which have been issued recently by RBI, so these guidelines they talk about setting up of a financial benchmark administrator for administering significant benchmarks in the markets for financial instruments. And the market can be money market, government securities market, credit market, or even foreign exchange market. So this primarily relates to significant benchmarks. Which benchmarks are significant? This would depend on the RBI norms. Further, the benchmarks administered outside India do not fall under the scope of these guidelines. So only benchmarks which are administered in India are going to be under these guidelines. And these directions shall be called Financial Benchmarks Administrators Reserve Bank Directions 2019, and they would come into effect from June 26, 2019. So these are the key features about introduction of these particular guidelines. So friends, now we can easily answer this question that the answer is going to be option number 1, that is significant benchmarks. Now let's move to the next question. RBI recently issued guidelines for setting up of FBA for administering significant benchmarks. The guidelines are based on the report submitted by a committee headed by. Options are P. Vijay Bhaskar, C. Rangarajan, K. C. Chakrabarti, Urjit Patel. So friends, if we take a look at the background of these particular guidelines which have been issued recently by RBI in the context of financial benchmark administrators, then these guidelines, they are basically based on the report which was earlier submitted by a committee of RBI under its executive director P. Vijaya Bhaskar on 28th June 2019. So this report, it was submitted around 6 years back, and now the guidelines have finally taken into shape. Now, why this committee, why this panel was set up? This was set up because there were revelations that several key global benchmark rates. What are key global benchmark rates? They include the London interbank offer rate like LIBOR. Similarly, there is Euribor, TIBOR. All these rates, it was being speculated, it was being alleged that they were rigged by leading market operators and several global standard setting bodies and national regulators. So this becomes very serious if the key global benchmark rates, they are being rigged. So it may also happen in India that our domestic benchmark rates could also get rigged. So in this case, it was necessary to form a committee to look into this particular matter. So this led to self-regulatory bodies reviewing the benchmark setting process. So this means that we had to understand the process through which the benchmarks were being set. For example, in India, there is a benchmark MIBOR, Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate. So there was a need for a mechanism to look into how this benchmark was being set in order to ensure the reliability of the financial benchmarks and the robustness of the entire system as a whole. So friends, now we can easily answer this question that these guidelines, they were based on the report submitted by a committee headed by P. Vijaya Bhaskar. So the answer is going to be option number 1. Next question. RBI recently issued guidelines for setting up a financial benchmark administrator for administering significant benchmarks. As per the provisions of the guidelines, FBAs shall, options are, be a company incorporated in India or outside India, maintain a minimum net worth of rupees 1 crore at all times, both of the above or none of the above. Now, with regard to the FBAs, some eligibility criteria has been specified by RBI. So if you have to become a financial benchmark administrator, then you must fulfill this criteria. What is the criteria? There are 2 points, both of which have to be complied with. First is FPA shall be a company which is incorporated in India. So FPA can only be an Indian company, and FPA shall maintain a minimum net worth of rupees 1 crore at all times. So it should have minimum capital employed of at least 1 crore at all the times. So if you are fulfilling this criteria, then only you can become a financial benchmark administrator. So friends, now we can easily answer this one, that the first option is going to be incorrect one, because FBA shall be a company incorporated in India and not outside India. Second statement is going to be correct because they have to maintain a minimum net worth of rupees 1 crore at all times. Next question. As per recently issued guidelines for setting up of financial benchmark administrators for administering significant benchmarks, FBAs shall be responsible for formulation of the benchmark calculation methodology, ensuring transparency in the benchmark administration, periodic review of the benchmark, or all of the above. So friends, we have learned that financial benchmark administrators, they are going to fulfill certain key responsibilities as per the recently issued RBI directions. So in this regard, FPAs shall be responsible for formulation of the benchmark calculation methodology. So how this benchmark is going to be calculated, how the MIBOR Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate is going to be calculated, this is the responsibility of the FPAs. They would determine the benchmark values and they would distribute these benchmark values to the outside world, to the public. And they would ensure that there is transparency in the benchmark administration and the benchmark is periodically reviewed as well. Further, they shall be responsible for putting in place proper organizational and process controls for carrying out these above responsibilities, which are very important in the context of FPAs. Further, FPAs shall develop an appropriate oversight function as well. So a separate oversight function which is to be completed by a separate committee called oversight committee to be separately set up for this purpose. So an appropriate oversight function has to be developed for a regular review of different aspects of significant benchmark determination process. So this benchmark determination process should be under proper oversight mechanism as well. It should be ensured that all the points which should be considered while benchmark administration, benchmark determination, they are being properly considered, and that's why a separate oversight committee is also required to be formulated. Further, FPAs shall ensure effective control over data collection, storage, processing, and dissemination. And this has to be done to ensure that data remains secure, data remains confidential, and is composed of integrity as well. So these are the broad responsibilities of financial benchmark administrators. So friends, now we can easily answer this one, that all of these statements, their responsibilities for FPAs. So our answer is going to be option number 4. Next question. As per recently issued guidelines for setting up a financial benchmark administrator for administering significant benchmarks, FPAs shall develop an appropriate oversight function. In this context, which of the following are correct? FPAs shall develop an appropriate oversight function for regular review of various aspects of significant benchmark determination process. Oversight function shall be carried out by a committee to be called oversight committee specifically set for carrying out this function. Both of the above or none of the above are true. So friends, in this particular case, we have learned that FPAs, they have to set up a proper oversight committee as well, which is to have a proper review of different aspects of the benchmark determination process. So in this context, both these statements, they are going to be true, and our answer is going to be option number 3. So guys, this was all about our discussion. If you are having any query, you can mail us at hello@edutap.co.in, or you can reach us at 8146207241. You can call us or you can WhatsApp us. And I would also recommend that you visit our website www.edutap.co.in for regular updates and important content on the respective examinations. Thank you guys. I wish you happy learning and all the best from the entire team.